Welcome to the Three Martini Lunch. Grab a stool next to Greg Columbus of Radio America and Jim Garrity of National Review. Three Martinis coming up.
So happy you're with us for the Tuesday edition of the Three Martini Lunch. We have good, sort of, bad, and crazy martinis for you today. We're going to have Three Martini Lunch podcast for you all week long. Wednesday is our annual look at the things we're politically thankful for. And in a big election year like this, there's plenty to talk about there. That'll be tomorrow. Thursday, we're going to have a look back at our special from the week of the election, why Trump won, why Kamala lost, and some other figures who won or lost as a result of their activities and their endorsements this year. And then on Friday, our always fun Black Friday special, where Jim and I come up with gifts, some actually practical, a lot of them tongue-in-cheek for political figures who may have had a good year or a bad year. So make sure you don't miss those. But today we've got good, bad, and crazy. Let's start with the good, and it's only good because she's not a good candidate. So the fact that she wants to run again is potentially good news. But if she were to actually win, it would be very bad news, and that's Kamala Harris. We don't even have all the votes counted in her beloved home state of California, yet she's already talking about her political comeback. And that could mean a run for governor in 2026, where I assume Gavin Newsom's not going to run again, and he's going to run for president in 2028, most likely. So I don't know what the Democratic field would look like there. And she's also talking about a potential run again for the presidency, a third White House bid in 2028, which I think is the most exciting of these options, Jim, because she's not going to get to be that much better of a candidate between now and then. Right now, the polls, the very early, ridiculously early polls for 2028 show her way ahead, but that's all based on name ID at this point. Basically, Kamala Harris isn't done with elective politics yet. She went out to Hawaii after conceding the race to Donald Trump, and now she's thinking about the 2026 California governor's race or the 2028 presidential race. I don't know which one she would be more likely to lean towards. She'd obviously be more likely to win the California governor's race. But what do you make of the fact that just 3 weeks after the fact of losing all those battleground states to Donald Trump, she wants back in the game?
Hey, you know what? She was real close. 0 for 7 in the swing states, but that could have gone either way, Greg. So first of all, this is one of those weird situations where Democrats are looking at Kamala Harris and pointing to the exit door and saying, "Go, Kamala, go." Whereas the Republicans are saying, "Go, Kamala, go. Go, Kamala, go." Or the old joke about run, Hillary, run, and whether it's on the back of your car or on the front of your car, you put the bumper sticker. So we've heard, other than she appeared in a Veterans Day ceremony, other than that, since the concession speech, we have not seen and we have not heard from Kamala Harris. Look, understandable that a presidential campaign is exhausting, and this defeat is probably extremely bitter and unsurprising. She'd want to spend time with her family and think about what she wants to do with the rest of her life. If she chooses to run for governor, which I don't like, it's interesting. Like, oh, she runs, she'll win. I am not 100% sure of that. First of all, there are 7 declared candidates already. Some of them are relatively obscure, but one of them is Antonio Villagrosa, the former mayor of Los Angeles. The current lieutenant governor, Eleni Kounalakis.
Opa.
Yeah, Betty Yee, former current vice chair of the Democratic Party. Tony Atkins, the president pro tempore of the California State Senate, former speaker of the State Assembly. So, like by state politics level, these are not, not a bunch of tomato cans. I suppose it's possible they would all kind of cancel each other out, and Harris could end up with a plurality. Let's also point out that another figure from the Biden administration cabinet, Javier Becerra, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, thinking about running. I also know Rick Caruso, about as close as you're going to find to a Republican. I don't know whether he ran for mayor of L.A. as an independent, but he was on the Reagan Library Board. Trust us, this guy's one of ours. So all of them, I don't know that if she jumps into a Democratic gubernatorial primary in California, that everybody else drops out and just concedes the race and says, look, well, we know you had a really bitter defeat, so here's the governor's mansion as a consolation prize. These people all have their own ambitions. And by the way, Harris really hasn't lived in California for 4 years. Is she really the best person to be the governor? So there's that open question. And if you run for governor, you can't turn around and run for president in 2 years. I think that it would have to be one or the other. And as for if she chooses to run for president again, what circumstances is she going to get? They're going to be better than this one.
Right.
Yeah. Trump won't be an incumbent, I suppose, but J.D. Vance, I mean, we don't know who's going to be the Republican nominee, but you figure he's got the inside track and he'd be a quasi-incumbent. You know, she had $1 billion this time. She didn't have to go through a primary. She just was handed the nomination in mid to late summer. You know, she had about as gushing coverage as you could get for the first 6 weeks or so. What's she going to have 4 years from now? That maybe in 4 years she'll decide what she would have done differently from Biden? Is that how long it's going to take her to come up with that? So on the one hand, no, there's no reason for her to really do anything. Like this is when we all kind of said, well, she's going to get a book deal. She'll get a teaching gig. She'll get the maybe something with Netflix or Peacock. She'll get the standard Obama post government office package. But maybe not. Maybe she wants to go for it again. And I think that it'll be quite fascinating to see her jump back in and to see what Democrats really think of her now that she has the stench of defeat attached to her and unlikely to go away.
Yeah, the fact that they cleared the field for her and in the way that they did, it's going to be worse than Hillary after 2016 when they told a bunch of people, including Biden, not to run at that time. And so if you couldn't get it done in that environment, the party's probably not going to invest in you again. If history's any guide, Jim, she will run for governor. She'll lose. And then she'll tell the press you won't have Harris to kick around anymore. And then 6 years later, she'll get elected president. But the problems with that are manifold. First of all, if she's the nominee, she won't lose the governor's race in California like Nixon did in 1962. And I don't think her party even then would want her back as the National Party nominee. So also hearing some rumblings she might end up as the president of Planned Parenthood, which means she would be in our faces for decades to come. So.
You know, Greg, in circumstances like this, maybe you just got to follow your passion.
Unbelievable. I'll tell you what else is unbelievable, though, and that is the amazing deals you can get right now on Omaha Steaks. Look, this is the perfect time to do it. Omaha Steaks, you know about the quality of the steaks. They're unrivaled since 1917. And as I said in a previous episode, if Omaha Steaks can survive World War I and the Woodrow Wilson administration as they got going in the beginning, you know that they have quality products. They've been going for over a century now. You know the steaks are fantastic. You know the burgers are excellent. You know the sides and the seafood and the chicken and the wine. But now this is a perfect time because you know someone who's going to love steaks. You know someone who's going to love burgers. This is the time to do it. Less than a month before Christmas. Save 50% site-wide at omahasteaks.com during the Cyber Monday sale. Plus, get an extra $30 off with the promo code 3ML and a $30 reward card when you shop early. I talked about this, I think, a few days ago. We had the burgers last week. Unbelievable. Great portions, great flavor, and the sides, the fries that went with it, just fantastic. Visit omahasteaks.com and save 50% off site-wide during their Cyber Monday sale. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with the promo code 3ML and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $30 off with the promo code 3ML. Minimum purchase may apply. All right, Jim, on to our bad martini now. And it was just on Election Day, actually, where we were telling the story about how intel officials from the U.S. and beyond believe that Russia was testing incendiary devices on cargo planes in parcels in preparation for potentially attacking passenger planes eventually as a result of, nations aggressively supporting Ukraine. That would be us. That would be the Brits, the Canadians, and so forth. Well, yesterday, a DHL plane crashed outside the Lithuanian capital of Vilnius. And here's part of the report from ABC's James Longman.
There is an investigation underway, not clear what caused this crash, but in a strange coincidence, there is also an investigation going on at the moment into suspected booby-trapped packages at DHL depots. Now, back in July, a package exploded at Leipzig airport in Germany. That is the same airport that this cargo plane took off from. Another package exploded here in the UK at Birmingham airport. And so UK and German authorities are all investigating what they say could be potential Russian sabotage in both of those cases.
Now, Jim, you and I don't believe a lot in coincidences in these sorts of situations. Yes, the most challenging times of a flight are the takeoff and the landing, and it'd be a little bit odd to detonate right before landing, but who knows? Given the intel that we had leading up to this, it doesn't take a huge conspiracy theory to wonder what happened here.
Yeah, certain bombs can be built with an altimeter that basically measures the altitude and is set to detonate when the plane reaches a certain altitude on ascent or descent. I hear people saying, debating whether the war in Ukraine should be considered a proxy war between NATO and Russia. And there are a couple people generally on my side of this argument, vehemently anti-Russia, who's like, oh, no, it's not let's not escalate this. Let's not talk about this it really kind of is a proxy war between Russia and NATO. And there's a reason that the Russians believe that by giving Ukraine weapons to defend itself and by finally allowing the Ukrainians to use ATACMS to attack Russian targets on Russian soil, that we have effectively become participants in this war. Now, this did not happen in a vacuum. There's been a long-run buildup of arrested saboteurs, surveillance, mysterious accidents, other circumstances that indicated that Russia has been moving its chess pieces into place on this for a long time. You may recall there was a Washington Post report that Trump and Putin had a phone call just a couple of days after the election in which Trump said to Putin, don't escalate, and reminded him of the size and power of the U.S. forces and NATO forces in Europe. Unfortunately, this certainly looks like an escalation. This certainly looks like, the Russians will have plausible deniability. There's a very good story in the Wall Street Journal's weekend edition talking about how increasingly autocracies and hostile states are using criminal gangs, the mob, independent hackers, basically third parties. Everything you see in those Mission Impossible movies, basically that they are going out and hiring rotten people with the right kind of skills to go out and do something so that they have plausible deniability. We may see what goes on here, but right after we've been investigating Russia for trying to do these sorts of things as a retaliatory, in their eyes, a retaliatory effort for our assistance of Ukraine, it's very unlikely that a DHL plane just happened to have a mysterious accident right around the same time that Russia had been threatening to do this. So very bad news, a very serious concern for both the outgoing Biden administration and the incoming Trump administration. I would really love to hear from Mike Waltz on this. I'd really love to hear from incoming Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Hell, I'd even settle for Tulsi Gabbard. I think this is the sort of thing that we should be talking about. We'll see if there's any public comment on this or if there's somewhere further back channel communications along the lines of knock it off.
If you don't have great credit, could a Trump policy cancel your credit card? The Watchdog on Wall Street podcast with Chris Markowski. Every day, Chris helps unpack the connection between politics and the economy and how it affects your wallet. Trump and Bernie want to collaborate on capping credit card interest rates. But credit card debt is a non-recourse loan. They can't repossess your dinner or your vacation. Whether it's happening in D.C. or down on Wall Street, it's affecting you financially. Be informed. Check out the Watchdog on Wall Street podcast with Chris Markowski on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Jim, we talked a little bit about Hillary Clinton and the Kamala Harris martini because, there's some parallels there. Basically cleared fields, losing to Trump, shocked that they lost to Trump, still trying to figure out what to do next. Hillary Clinton still hasn't quite figured that out yet. Kamala Harris is thinking about different electoral options. Bill Clinton, however, is doing some reflecting on the 2024 campaign. In an interview, he said that he had a feeling that all the swing states might break the same way. Not sure that's actually his thinking before the election, but nonetheless, I guess it makes him look somewhat sophisticated now. But he then talked about the significance of the fact that Trump won not only the Electoral College, but the popular vote. And then we got more Clinton whining about 2016.
At least this time, there is no question that he actually won both the popular vote and the Electoral College. And when he won before, he lost the popular vote and only won the Electoral College because of the late intervention of James Comey and I think the false presentation of the email issue.
Some people just have a hard time getting over stuff. Did the Comey reemergence late in the game make a small impact on the race? Maybe. But people's opinions of Hillary Clinton were baked in the cake long before that. The email situation was not, I don't think, blown out of proportion. And the bottom line is people just didn't like her. And she took the threat of Donald Trump not nearly seriously enough. They were popping champagne well before the elections were even underway. And that arrogance caught up with them. But they still can't deal with it.
Greg, if Bill Clinton, while explaining Hillary Clinton's defeat, does not bring up Russian, quote unquote, Russian disinformation, does that mean there's no longer a reason? Because if not even Bill Clinton's bringing it up, I think we can now say we can put it to rest. No, it was not that money that they spent on Facebook creating ads of Hillary Clinton in a boxing match with Jesus that was advertised to hardcore conservatives. Go figure. That was not what actually swayed the election. Now, if you're wondering, why is Bill Clinton back on my television screen? And, first of all, if you're of a certain age like ours, Greg, it is a little bit depressing to see Bill Clinton as an old man because he was always, I think it was Dick Morris said, the country doesn't see you as a father figure. It sees you as a bumbling kid brother. He always was the young president, the too young president. Now he's considerably older. But the reason we're seeing Bill Clinton back on our television screens is that he has a new book out, Citizen, My Life After the White House. Listeners know I've been doing some traveling lately, and I've seen it in the airport bookstore. And I've debated, do I want to buy this? Not because I really enjoy and really want to know how Bill Clinton has been spending his time since leaving the White House. I just figure he's spending quality time with his families. But are you... By the way, kudos to Greg for picking up on that. I think a couple listeners, wait, what was the joke? Play that again. Anyway. I picked it up. And also, the other thing is I can, use it as a tax deduction. But anyway, so I think about picking it up. I'm flipping through it, and there is one reference to Monica Lewinsky. I won't go into the detail. Basically, it's like he wishes her well. But in the next page, there is a reference to Donald Trump had continued bringing the country into becoming a post-truth society. Now, there are a lot of people who can accuse Donald Trump of being dishonest, coarsening the culture, and destroying the expectation, ruining the trust Americans have in their elected leaders, and making lying seem common. There are a lot of people who can make that criticism, but Bill Clinton is not one of them. And I almost wonder if Bill Clinton looks at Donald Trump and he wants to say, and this guy is a creep about the way he treats me. I can't say that. This guy goes on television and lie. No, I can't say that. He just kind of goes through this and this recognition that almost all the criticisms that Democrats reflexively throw at Donald Trump, by the way, often deserved, almost all of them apply. Donald Trump keeps making money on shady land deals. Oh, wait, Whitewater. Okay, all right. Everything. So there's nothing left for Bill Clinton to do, but he's got to fill pages. So and maybe at some point I will. But I came to that really? Bill Clinton's worrying about us becoming a post-truth society? Okay, sure.
It's amazing. I'm sure Bill on some level wanted Hillary to win in 2016, but I suspect it was more for the gazillions that were going to pour into the Clinton Foundation and for his wife to actually get her turn in the Oval Office. But in the end, they're not over it. It's been 8 years, and they're still on this, well, he didn't win the popular vote, and there's why.
They never will be over it. And I know. Look, maybe one of the reasons Kamala Harris is going to feel like she has to run for governor is because she's looking at that. This is our future, right? Dougie's going to write a book 10 years from now, fuming about Fox News or Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan cost her the election or something.
Hey, if Doug only fumes in print, I take that as a win. So, on that lovely note, Jim,
happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, exactly. So don't forget about our specials, the things we're politically thankful for. Wednesday, our review of the election results on Thanksgiving Day itself, and then our always fun, really funny Black Friday special come Friday. And then, of course, back at it on this coming Monday. So Jim Garrity, National Review. I'm Greg Corombos of Radio America. Thanks for being with us today. Please subscribe to the podcast. If you don't already, tell your friends about us as well. Thanks also for your 5-star ratings and your kind reviews. Please keep those coming. Get us on your home devices. All you have to say is play 3 Martini Lunch Podcast. Follow us both on X. He's at Jim Garrity. I'm at Dateline_DC. Have a great Tuesday and join us again on Wednesday for our special look at the things we're politically thankful for on the 3 Martini Lunch.